Jeff is from Texas. Okay, excellent. So let
From
me get
Texas.
started. Let me get started. First, what I wanted to say and foremost, thank you for your time today. I hope to finish within 45 minutes to 1 hour. In the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, I just wanted to share the platform with you. But in doing so, my name is Mahad. I'm a CPA in Canada. I'm also a CPA in the US. I've been an accountant for 26 years. I worked for equivalent of IRS, we call in Canada, Canada Revenue Agency. I worked for them for 7 years and 8 months. I started my own business. I have 44 public accountants, CPAs, that work at my firm. Back in 2022, one of my favorite client passed away, and I was completing the death benefit application, and I was told I cannot complete the death benefit application as a CPA unless I'm licensed. So I looked into it. I said, I'm going to go get my license. I ended up getting my license and I ended up adding a service to my business already. First year, I made $340,000 income part-time. Second year, I made 390. And last year, I made $1 million doing it part-time with Kizzy. And I will tell you who Kizzy is shortly, but the video, the podcast is on YouTube, so you're more than welcome to go and watch it. I'll share the link with you later. That will basically give you a foundation of who you are in this business or any business. When you have a good mentor, and when that mentor has done what you're looking to do, life gets a lot easier because it's either easy to duplicatable in terms of making sure that you're able to create that wealth for yourself and also wealth for your family, whether you want to do it part-time or whether you want to do it full-time. Sound good? Now,
That's great.
the IMO or the MGA in Canada is called Experior Financial Group. Um, Experior Financial Group has an amazing stats. So every single month, we average about $250 million of insurance production every month. And we also average $384 million of annuities and investment every single month. Okay, production. So those are the amount of families that we help both in Canada and the US. The head office for Canada is in Guelph. The head office for the US is in New York. We service in all 50 states, including Puerto Rico. What I love about Experior, and as you could see from my background, and the people that are also from Emerald background, is that once you become an agency owner, you don't have to advertise Experior. Okay. The reason why you don't have to advertise Experior is because you can think of it as your own business. You have your own business, you have your own hours of operation. So when Kizzy and I became directors, which I will show you how to become a director, we called our agency Emerald Wealth Services. So this is who we are. We lead a team of, it's now 1,628 agents, both in Canada and the US. And we're seven-figure income earners. We're shareholders of Experior Financial Group. And what we've done is that we formed a business. What does a business contain, everyone? Employees, right? So the first thing is that if I want Jeff to be successful, or I want Nelson to be successful, or Arlene, or Wanda, or anybody, the first thing we do is that Kizzy and I, we decided to have and hire these 10 employees. Those 10 employees, what they do is that they answer all your questions that you need in order for you to be successful. So if you're a licensed agent, what first thing we do is when you join the agency is that we partnered you with an onboarding and contracting person. They will help you get all your contracts. They will help you communicate with carriers. We want to make sure that you're ready to sell within 72 hours to 4 days. 3 to 4 days, we want you to start selling. Okay? We want to make sure that you get paid. Now, if you are looking to build an agency, we have recruiters on our team. They're professional recruiters. They go out and they prospect and show the business presentation to everybody, similar to what I'm showing you today. Let me
Opo.
just mute 1, 2, 3, 4. Um, so in saying that, we also have a compliance managers. Those compliance managers are great because what we want to make sure is that when you sell a policy, that family is protected. And second of all, as the agent of record, that you These coaches and mentors, depending on what you want to learn, if you want to learn final expense, if you want to learn, business, dealing with business clients, which is what I specialize in, we have all the menu for you to be able to be successful, right? For example, a selfie every single Wednesday, and tomorrow is a Wednesday, he holds a session for our team and he teaches you how to prospect, how to do a fact find, how to ask the right questions, how to be able to create the opportunity, and how to close. Those are the four pillars that he teaches to agents in order for them to be successful. Now, all these coaches, there is a cost. Those costs are paid by Kizzy and I. So, for example, a selfie charges each agent $1,000 for each year. And that $1,000 comes with content, the coaching, the mentorship. But Kizzy and I are willing to pay for you in order for you to be able to have that foundation. So you can think about it. Let me ask you guys this. When you go to work on day one, does your employer invest in you, or do you have to provide a service in order to get paid for that service? Which one? Do they invest in you, or you have to provide a service and then you get paid? Anyone?
You usually work first, and then you get paid on 2 weeks later.
Right. So,
I
what?
I think the
Mhm.
initial hiring is an investment and it's kind of a way to prove yourself if you're going to be that person for them.
Right. You have a 90-day probation, right? And then you
Right.
also have to provide a service in order for you to be able to get paid. Here, what
Right.
we do is that on day one, when you join, no conditions asked, no chasing you down, no hounding you, no nothing. What we want you to do is we want to invest in you. So we're willing to pay $1,000 for your success. All you need to do is be a good student, learn every day. I'm learning something new. Be a good student, and a selfie basically will teach you all the approach, the fact find, the opportunity, the close. And in fact, if I was to show you a typical login, I'm just going off track, but I want you to see what we do. Um, so this is his website, Taylor Method. You get your own login. Once you log in, you're able to see everything that I'm talking about, the approach, the fact find, the opportunity, the close. And every Wednesday, these are the alerts that you get on the 26th tomorrow. He has a session, and these are all the past sessions going back to 2021 that you're more than welcome to go and watch and listen. Okay? And he produces $4.4 million every single year with his own pen. Okay. He doesn't need me or the $1,000. But he basically is a partner within our agency to be able to train each one of you guys. Okay, we're good. Now, if you ever want to go and watch the podcast, there is this one. For 3 weeks, it had 18,000 views. And then for this one with Jamie Prickett, who's the co-founder of Experior, and Darren, who's one of our mentors, and Cody Askins, there's this one within a month, it had about 11,000 views. And we're building in a sense where this is a Zoom training session with Cody Askins when he does attend. Okay, I'm showing you this so you can see it. Now, I'm going to talk about both the US and Canada. Okay, so if you're from the US, you're going to learn something new about Canada. If you're from Canada, you're going to learn something new about the US. Because Xperi, that's what it's all about. We work together. Sometimes I have clients that are in Illinois that I had today. I was able to go and send that file to someone else. So the products that we have. In the US, we have 72 different carriers, okay? 72 different carriers. The power of choice is important. We have products for term, permanent, annuities, IRA, health insurance plans, final expense, you name it, we have it, okay? Now, over in Canada, we have these 25 different carriers. Our license in Canada, guys, in the US, our license in Canada, we can sell travel insurance. So travel insurance, for example, we have one, two, three, four, five, in order to service our clients. So the power of choice is very important. Now, over in Canada, for the same license of our life license, we're able to sell investments like a tax-free savings account. These are all the other carriers that we have. So if you're selling, for example, an IUL equivalent in Canada, we call it Universal Life. So our client, if they want ETFs or they want mutual funds, they want whatever they're looking for, we're able to cater and help them as well and tell them, Fidelity has the ETFs that you can participate. Again, over in Canada and the US, we have referral partners. In Canada, we have referral partners for pet insurance, for 812 mortgage, Legal Shield over in Canada and the US. And then we also have Debtmedic for Canada and the US as well. So if your client has debts, they're able to reduce almost 80% of their debt by going through a program called Debtmedic. And in return, you make 4% of the commission of whatever that agent is receiving. You receive 4% of that commission. Sound fair? We're good? All right, excellent. Now, we give you employees, we give you coaching, we give you the products. What's next? How do you get paid? Okay, so again, I'll talk about the US first, and then I'll talk about Canada second. Now, when you join, Experior has something called TriBrid. A TriBrid means we ask you, what type of agent do you want to become? And the choice is yours. So we say, Amir, do you want to be a producer or do you want to be a builder? Which one? If you want to be a producer in the US, it's 130. If you want to be a builder in the US, it's 158. The choice is yours. Pick one. So if Amir says he wants to be a builder, he has the flexibility to have from all the way up to 130, which is here. Plus, he can build an agency level up to 28%. Make sense? So let me talk about Canada as well, and then I'll give you guys some examples. Over in Canada, the same thing. We ask you, do you want to be a producer or a builder? If you're a producer, it's 160. If you're a builder, it's 213%. Okay? Now, again, the same thing, up to 160. And then you also have the agency level of up to 53%. Now, let me give you an example, okay? Let's say Wanda and Rachel and Jeff, okay? These are my 3 people that I have in my team. And I'm at 140%. Wanda, Rachel, and Jeff are at 70%. What's the difference between 70% and 140%? Anyone?
70%.
70%. So that means if I'm a builder, I could not write any business for this month, 0 business. As long as Rachel and Jeff and Wanda are writing business, how much do I receive? 70%. You guys agree? Every time Rachel writes a business, I receive 70%. If Jeff writes a business, I receive 70%. Now people say, hey, Mahad, is this MLM? No, it's not an MLM, because when you come, we ask you, do you want to be a producer or you want to be a builder? Rachel could be a producer, Jeff could be a producer, Wanda could be a producer, but when they write, because I refer them to the business and they're making a livelihood for themselves, I receive 70%. Now, let me just pick on someone. And guys, this is a good example, okay? This is actually a real example. Now, let's say I'm going to pick on Jeff. So you guys see my screen? Right? I'm going to walk you through this example. So let's say Jeff, the month of July last month, he wrote 10 policies, okay? Each one gave him $1,200. So 10 times 1,200 is $12,000. Make sense? Easy enough. Each policy, Jeff takes 2 hours to write. So for the whole month of July, he spent 20 hours writing 10 policies. Good so far? Any questions? Now, this is a producer. Now, do you guys know anybody who made $12,000 or who makes $12,000 in a month? Come on, guys. Do you know someone that makes $12,000 a month? I do.
Attorneys.
So Rachel, do you know someone that makes $12,000 a month?
Attorneys.
Attorneys, okay. Now, let me say this to you. Let's say that Jeff decided to build an agency, okay? Because writing business makes you rich, okay? Makes you rich. But if you want to build a wealth in this industry, which is the only industry that you can build a wealth, so let's just say that Jeff has 5 agents like him. Those 5 agents, each one wrote 10 policies, so 5 times 10 is 50. And each policy, the commission was $1,200. So all Jeff's agent made $60,000 for the month of July. Now, earlier I said, what is the difference between 140 and 70%? And you guys said 70. But let's just assume that my override is 30%. So 60,000 times 30% is 18,000. So what did Jeff make for the month of July? So he made this, okay? He made this, and then he also made this. When you add them together, it's $30,000 for the month. Okay, you guys with me? Right. Now, do you know someone that makes $30,000 a month? I do. I know a business owner that makes $30,000 or more every month. So at Experior, what we say is, hey, pick which one do you want? Do you want to build wealth or do you want to be a producer? That's why there is the 130 and the 158. That's why there's the 160 and 200 and change. Make sense? So you pick and choose which one do you want. Yes, Amir, do you have a question?
Yes, I just had a question. Since you brought the subject of choosing which one is better, to my understanding, both options, well, one is better than the other one, but both options are very good options. Would be able to choose both as an option?
Yeah, so to choose both, you just have to say that you're a builder. So because the builder gives you the production and it also gives you the agency override, right? So for me, I write businesses, right? And I'm also a builder. So for example, all these individuals, they're amazing. Like Michael is killing it. Rachel is doing excellent. But all these people that you see Emerald in the background, they're my agents. Okay, I brought them to the business. Michael lives in Houston. He's doing well for himself. He's doing what he needs to do to provide for his family. He's building a legacy. But for me, I'm also doing the same thing, and I'm also building. And the good thing about this business is that whenever Michael writes a business, I also get compensated for it. Okay? But what do I need to do in order for Michael to be successful? I have employees for him. I invested in him to have a coaching and a trainer. A selfie tailor is not cheap. And then I also invested in other resources. So I'm there for Michael because I'm a product of me learning and doing it. So I'm also training Michael to do the same thing. So that way that all the business that Michael submits, that he's winning. Make sense? So Jeff, you're brand new. Whether if you're licensed or not licensed, we'll make sure that you're licensed. We'll make sure that you're trained. We'll make sure that you're prospecting. We'll make sure that you're making money. This is what we do. We want to make sure that every single person who's there to make a livelihood, whether they want to do it part-time or full-time, that we're able to accommodate. Sound good? All right, excellent. And feel free to ask any questions if you have any questions, all right? Don't be shy. If you're shy, just put it in the chat. I want to talk to you guys about the industry. There are 2 types of insurance agents, okay? So there is someone who's a captive, and there is someone who's a broker. Now, who's a captive? A captive is like, for example, State Farm, or if you go to the Adidas store. If you go to the Adidas store, everything that they have at the Adidas store is all Adidas products, okay? That's all they sell it to you for. But if you go to Foot Locker, you have a mixture of Nike, Adidas, Reebok, like New Balance, they have everything. So at Experior, we say to you, how you take care of your client is by listening to them, listening to their problems, and then providing a solution for their problem. Maybe all they want is pet insurance. Maybe all they want is term insurance, right? Maybe they want something for their child. So someone like an Adidas store doesn't have that. So at Experior, we will train you to be able to do that. And what we're saying in return is that every single client that you help, you brought them, you keep them. If you decide to leave Experior, all the clients are yours. The ownership is yours. If you decide to sell your book of business, you can sell it for 7x. Okay? When you have a job and you go work for 20 years, you cannot sell your time that you spent for that 20 years, right? It's not worth anything because you got paid for it. In this business, all the clients that you generate, that you have, they're all yours 100%. You can take them anywhere you want. You can sell it 7x. The second thing is that the agency that you build, remember I talked about the builder, the agency that you build, it's all yours 100%. Okay, it's nobody else's. You get to keep the agency. You get to take them wherever you want to go to. And of course, I'll talk to you guys about the ownership of shares, but Experior is looking to go public. So if you go on Google and you type Experior IPO, okay, so on September of 2025, they announced and they're targeting to be IPO ready in 3 years. So what does that mean for you? Okay? What does that mean for you? You want to be rewarded for your work ethic. So your work ethic, basically what it means is that any shares that you accumulate, it's yours for free because you're earning it. So how do you get paid? So for as low income of $10,000, we don't go by title. Experior is the only IMO or MGA that doesn't go by title. It's always the people on the top making all the money, right? So Experior says, I'm going to remove that, and it's based on your work ethic. So if you're making a small $10,000 income, even if you do it part-time, what happens when you make a $10,000 income, Michael? What happens when you make a $10,000 income?
You get stock options.
You get stock options, which is 20 stock options. What else happens, Michael? You also get promoted, right?
Yeah.
So-
You get promoted. Yeah.
So if you're in Canada and you make $10,000, you get promoted. And then if you're in the US, you get promoted from 70% to 85% contract rate by making $10,000. So two things happens. Now, last year, Kizzy and I made $1 million. Okay, I'm showing you this. Kizzy and I made $1 million. We have more than 500 agents. Rather than receiving $10,000 of stock options, rather than receiving 10,000 stock options, Kizzy and I received this. And I'm going to show you this. And the reason why I'm showing you is that I want you to see the value of your hard work. By doing the work in return, you get rewarded for it. So Kizzy and I received this. Okay. So this is an email. It says here the total shares for Canada and the US. We received 16,000 shares. Okay. So what is 16,000 shares worth today? Each share today, if I was to go back and resell it back to Experior, each share is worth $9. Now, pull up a calculator and do 16,000 times $9. Who can tell me the answer? Anyone?
144,000.
144,000. So that's $144,000 that I received for my hard work as a thank you. Now, have you received that at work before? That kind of money? No. Now, let me say this. The last shareholder meeting that Monty Home and Jamie Prickett had, the next one is on actually on September 4th. They are saying that each share is worth about $114 when it goes public. Now, go take the 16,000, Michael and Nelson, multiply by $114. How much is that?
$1,824,000.
Right. So 1.8 million. Now, what did I do in order for me to receive it? Experior is the only IMO MGA that is willing to recognize for your work by saying, hey, great job. You made $1 million. You have 500 agents. This is 10,000 stock options for you to keep. Okay, we're good on that. So you own all your clients, you own your agency, and you own your shares. Now, if you ever leave Experior, because you've earned those shares, you can go take it with you. So when Experior goes public and the AOG, you can move it to your direct investment account, your brokerage account, and then you can sell it or keep them or pass it on to your next generation of your family. Make sense? We're good? Yeah. Now, last thing I want to talk about is registration. I'll start with the US because US, and for you guys in the US, I want you to think the requirement for Canada and how difficult it is. All right. Now, in the US, the licensing course is $39.95, $40. Once you're licensed and you pass, you pay for your state licensing, and then you pay for your annual errors and omission, which is $31 a month. That's it. And your cost for you being part of Experior and Experior giving you all the quoting tools, the carriers, the support, your commission, your everything, depending on your title, you pay between $19 to $50 a month, right? However, if I show you in Canada, rather than the licensing course in the US being $40, in Canada it's $198. And then we write 4 provincial exams, which each one is $60 to $65 to $240. And then the provincial licensing application it's about $150 to $170. However, Experior says to you, once you get promoted to senior financial associate, I will refund you the $198 that you pay to an external company. Okay? So the licensing in Texas, if I go on Google, and this is what amazes me, and I wonder if I go on Google and say, how fast can I obtain a life insurance license in Texas, right? 2 to 4 weeks. There's some people that get it in 3 days, okay? Now, if I type, how fast can you get your license in Ontario, Canada? It's 4 to 6 weeks. However, it usually takes between the sponsorship and the supervision and all of that, it takes about 4 months. Okay? So you don't need a supervision, you don't need a sponsorship in the US, so you're able to get going and be able to earn income quicker, right? Now, one thing that I also want to show you is that if you go on Google, and this is what is rewarding, you could do it part-time or you could do it full-time. And if you go on Google and say which industry produces the most millionaires in the US, is financial services and investments. Now, if you do the same in Canada, it's the same answer. If you do the same thing in Norway or Denmark or Australia or Timbuktu, it's always insurance. And the reason why that is because this is the most scalable business without little to no expenses. You want to start a franchise, you need to put a lot of money. You want to start a business, you have to put a lot of money. Here, it costs you less than $500 to duplicate yourself multiple times in a business where you can take off, or let's just say if you're a mother, how many people here are mothers, right? And you can't work full time anymore because your child needs you. It's okay, you can build an agency and they will basically support you and give you those income that I showed you with Jeff's example. Make sense? Right. Anyone have any questions? Anything that you want to add? Amir, yes, go ahead.
So I was speaking to 3 of my friends, and they are already part of, not my friends, like acquaintances that I spoke with. They are part of the other company, and they said that those companies are more supportive than Esperion. How can I over counter these questions, because they have big teams, but they are not willing come to us for that reason, for that objection? Is there any way I can over counter that?
Good question, Amir. Everybody believes in what they have is the best. You guys agree? Everybody says what I have is the best. If I said to you, let me give you this example. You guys all went to university, right? Most of you. So if I said to you, why did you pick that university? You would say that was the best university. But I can guarantee you that there's a better one out there, right? Now, but you're not willing to give it a try. The reason why you're not willing to try is that you felt comfortable to pick that university. So unless the person is open-minded to see, then they will always feel they have the best, right? So let me give you an example. I believe Marge. Let me ask Marge. Marge, why did you choose to come to Experior? Or where were you before and how long you were there before?
I was in my previous MGA for the last 11 years. The reason why I chose Experior is because of the structure, strong structure, because of the system and real ownership and the scaling.
The scaling, okay. So imagine Amir, she was somewhere else for 11 years, okay? Another insurance company for 11 years. That's more than a decade, okay? She built an amazing business, and now she's doing it again at Experior, but this time able to scale a lot quicker. Now, if I said to you, hey, I will do all the work for you. I'll do all the admin work for you because I have my employees. They will do all the work for you. And all I need you to do is two things. Those two things is, one, go and produce and make money for your family. And number two, be compliant and only write with good business. That's the only two that I'm asking you. Everything else, you want help with contracting? I have someone to help you. You want help with sales training? I have someone to do it for you. You want support? No problem, I have that for you. You want carrier? I have that for you. And Experior pays you 2 times per week. Now, 2 times per week in Canada and 2 times per week in the US. And 1 time in Puerto Rico. So for me, I get paid 5 times a week. Now, which IMO or MGA that you can come and tell me where you can get paid 5 times a week? Anyone, like, there isn't one. It's only Experior. I've done my homework, which is the reason why I feel comfortable and confident to be able to help 1,600 agents that I've being able to build a solid business. Does that make sense? Right? So Amir, I hope I was able to answer your question. But the thing is, like, if the person is not willing, you can't change. Try fixing your thumb to make it look like your pinky. You can't do that. A thumb will always be a thumb, right? So that's all it is. Okay. Any other questions? That was a good question. So I have a question for you guys. Let me just pull it up. Who can I pick on? Okay. Let me see, Jeff. Who invited you today?
Andrea.
Andrea, okay. And what did Andrea tell you? I'm curious.
She told me the overview of the company.
Mhm.
But and she told me about the company and some of the pay structure and what Selfira does. And we basically just had a quick chat for a few minutes, just going over who I am and things like that.
That's awesome. Are you licensed, Jeff?
No, today was the first time hearing about it.
Okay.
She told me that there would be a detailed call at 5 if I wanted to join. So I
Okay.
literally just talked to her today and then I'm jumping on the second call.
That's good. You trust Andrea that much. That's awesome.
I just
You
want
know,
to learn
Andrea,
more.
yeah, no, Andrea is amazing. She's doing really good. I'm happy that you came to invest the time. So, what do you think? Is this something that you could do? Is it something that you see a lot of people? Have you ever seen a GoFundMe and what's like, a GoFundMe versus what you learned today?
Yeah, from what I see, there seems to be a lot of training and things of that nature. I'm still unsure about what the true difference is between a builder and a producer. Because the pay structure is different. There must be something involved there
Yeah,
that's
no, that's
additional.
good.
So, that's pretty much the only questions I have around, but looks like the pay structure is pretty cool. Very much commission based, so whatever you pour into it comes back to you. So that's just
Yeah,
what it
no,
seems.
it's good. I'll cover that for a minute just so that you have a good understanding. So, okay, thank you so much, Jeff. Second person, Wanda. I remember seeing you, Wanda, a couple of weeks ago. You asked a lot of questions. So, what made you join Experior? I'm curious. Like, what made you decide to join Experior? Tell us.
Well, a lot of the questions they were answered, and I felt that it was experience of the place that I grow and pretty much pick up where I left off in symmetry. Also, Michael, who invited me here, he's been really excited and he just speaks positive this place and it's a great place to be. So I'm pretty much going with that and then doing the research myself.
Right. No, it's good. So everyone, she came from Symmetry and she joined us, right? I saw her a couple of weeks ago before I went to California. So when I saw that she joined, I was like, oh, I must have done a great job answering her questions. So because she was asking a lot of tough questions. And Michael, this month alone, has sold 11 applications, right? So it shows you a sentiment that once you're producing, Jeff, and you're growing and you're learning in the industry, then Michael is a good example. Like I was like that. I was like Michael for 2 years. I was only a producer. And then I said, hey, man, I have to keep chasing the gazelle all the time. I have to go hunt all the time. I have to go find clients all the time. What if I wanted to take 3 months off? And then there's no money if you're a producer, Jeff, right? So if you don't work for 3 months, there's no money. Your bank account goes in overdraft. But in order for your bank not to go overdraft, what Michael is doing is that he said, hey, I want to work with Wanda and I want to have people like me that are business minded in order for me and Wanda to work together, which is fantastic. So by building, you get compensated additional compensation on top of you being a producer, right? So that's a good example of somebody who was a producer and now is builder. So let me walk you guys through the commission payments, right? Lightning candles. Yes, that's right. You just got to find the match. And the match is would light up, legacies. So let me give you an example, Jeff. Think of it that you sold, and everybody who wants to know about a producer versus a builder, okay? So think of it of this, okay? So this is Jeff. He's at 70% to start in the US. He met a client that wanted a term insurance for 20 years. Each month is about $100 a month. That's $1,200. If your contract rate was 70%, you just take the annual premium, multiply by 70%. That is $840 commission to do 2 hours worth of work, average. Michael would say that you could do it in about an hour, right? Ethos, if you ever used Ethos, how many minutes is Ethos to do one application?
Oh yeah, it's 20 minutes, 10 minutes at the most.
10 minutes. 10 minutes to do an application, Jeff. Okay? If I go to Ethos website, they say to you, 10 minutes to do the application, 90% approval rate, and no medical exam. Okay? All right. So think about it. 70% gives you 840. Once you're promoted, the same policy will pay you 1,020. And once you are an executive director, which is the vision and the goal, the commission would be $1,380 for doing the same amount of work, because the application still asks for your name, it still asks for your height, it still asks for your beneficiary name, right? So whether you're writing a big policy, a small policy, your contract rate would be higher the more that you work, right? Now, this is a producer. Now, imagine, Jeff, you don't write policy for 3 months, but meanwhile, you have Amir, Rachel, Wanda, LCA, Nelson, all writing business, and you haven't written any business for 3 months. What happens is that Experior says to you, because they're at 70% and you're at 100%, they give you the 30% override every time that they make a sale. Okay, that's the only thing different. When you write, you get paid. When your teammates or your business partners write, you also get paid. That's the builder. Okay, so you get double up to 158. All right. I see Sally. Sally, do you have a question? You're good. What about Sheena or Nelson? Well, Nelson, I'm seeing you for the first time. Hi,
Good.
Sally.
Thanks.
So there is a quiz, okay? Are you guys ready for my quiz, or we're good? I'm joking. But if anybody has any questions, just unmute yourself or feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I wanted to thank you for your time. Wanda, do you have a question? You unmuted yourself.
Quick question. So earlier you did mention that yourself and I believe your wife, that you guys were able to advertise your own agency after you got to like a certain level. So in the beginning, are you solely advertising Experior until kind of reach whatever the level is to advertise your?
Yeah, so in the beginning, we're new, just like Jeff, right? Jeff is brand new, not licensed. I was like that. I saw the business presentation. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. I was forced to do it because I was trying to help a client that required a death benefit, as I said earlier. But when I did it, I got my license. I was able to complete that death benefit application. So I actually saw someone receive $8 million check. And I was like, man, why does GoFundMe exist? Okay. And I was like, how many more people can I help to give them? Because at the end of the day, you know what the advisor told me? He's like, Mahad, you see this check, isn't it beautiful? He's like, the name is written now. The only thing missing is the date of death. But the check is written, the check is signed, the check has payable, everything is all done. The only thing missing is the date of death. So as soon as the person dies, the death benefit is paid out. So I was so interested by that. But then I started from the bottom, and then, and I worked my way up. And being where I am today, I'm one level short of being a partner at Experior, okay? From where I started. But I always had laser focus in order for me to do and learn all the products. Learning all the products, I give myself 2 years to master in and out of the whole insurance industry. And then this year, December of last year, 2025, I said, hey, Casey, now we're rich because we wrote a lot of policies. Writing policy makes you rich. But if you want to build that wealth and you want to be remembered for a legacy and not have your family figure out anything, this is what I wanted to show you. And I'll leave you with this and let it ponder in your head, okay? Let me just log to Canada. And, I said to myself, it's important to leave a legacy because legacy is what someone can receive if ever anything happened to my family. Now, let me ask you guys this, okay? I'm going to ask Rachel. Rachel, let's say that you meet a family and they say to you, mom passed away, dad passed away. Would you say that family had to figure out how they're going to survive? Or do you think that they already had a way to figure out how they're going to survive?
I guess it depends on how their estate planning was set up as well, and if they had savings, and also life insurance.
Okay, so that's what we sell. But let's say if mom and dad were life insurance agents, how would that
Okay.
family figure out how they're going to live?
If they're life insurance policies,
No, they're life insurance agents. Mom and dad were life insurance agents,
okay, I would hope
and
that they would have policies.
they would have policies. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm encouraging you all to listen to what Rachel is saying. Have a policy, that's number one. Number two, become an executive director at Experior. Okay? And I'm going to show you why. Experior has a legacy program. So if you ever pass away, your family is going to receive payment every single week, twice a week. And this is how I'm going to leave you with this. So Experior, basically, if you get to the Platinum Plus, and I want you to read it, if there is a retirement, or you have a disability, or if there is a death, it says here, in the event of death, the Platinum Plus Legacy Qualified Executive Director, his or her code means your residuals, and as well as the agency code override, so all the override that you get will be paid out 75% indefinitely to your designation form, your designated beneficiary. Now, how would you like that if you passed away on Tuesday today, and your family is going to receive a payment on Friday for a business that you built? And then they're going to receive every single week, 2 payments every single week for the rest of their life of that beneficiary. And then they can pass it on to the next beneficiary. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? So they're mourning you. They're like, oh man, Mahad is gone. But look, rather than Mahad leaving us with worry and waiting for the death benefit to be paid out, I'm getting paid my agency override for all the things that Rachel is writing, for all the things that Michael is writing, Sally is writing, Amir is writing, Nelson is writing. My family is going to receive that in case there is a disability. Now, what job gives you payment if you have a disability? You have to have a disability insurance, right? You need to have, you need to work for the government. Now, how many people are lucky to work for the government? Not many people. So the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want you to see what Experior legacy program is that Symmetry doesn't have, or FFL doesn't have, or Greatway doesn't have, that here at Experior you can build a big business, receive and build wealth, not only for you, but for the people that you brought to this world or the people that you love. Make sense? We're good? I hope I was able to
Okay.
add value to that. The harder you work, the easier it is to love what you do. Because if you go on Google and say, how many people signed up for GoFundMe for burial in 2025? Okay? 125,000 people used GoFundMe last year for funeral and fundraiser. 125,000 people. And their pictures and their images exists as all this. Like, is that what you want to be remembered? No, right? So what you want to do for those family is go and help them and teach them to have a life insurance policy. And you don't want your family to do the same. So go and get a life insurance policy for yourself and also build a legacy that pays 2 days a week. Nelson asked a question. Beneficiaries don't need to be licensed to inherit the override. So the reason why you're getting paid 75%, Nelson, is because Experior will allow a licensed agent to be able to manage the book of business. So if your child is 6 years old or 10 years old, they'll be able to pay them without being licensed. The only thing they cannot receive is the trail commission. Okay. Agency override. Michael is working. Michael is licensed, so my child can receive an override. Make sense, guys? You guys like it? You guys
Yes.
learned something new? Amazing. With that said, thank you so much for your time, and I hope
you.
I see you part of our team. Take care, guys. Enjoy your night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks,
Have a
Mara.
nice evening.